the day my boss suddenly promoted me. Everyone in the office started acting strange. At first, I thought they were just jealous. But 3 days later, I discovered something that made me realize the promotion was never meant to help me. It was meant to set me up. My name is Daniel, and until last year, I worked at a mid-sized tech company downtown. Nothing glamorous, just an open office, endless meetings, and the same group of coworkers every day. I had been there for almost 4 years, long enough to know how things worked. Promotions didn't happen suddenly. They took months of performance reviews, meetings with management, and usually a lot of competition. Which is why the moment my boss called me into his office that Tuesday morning, I knew something was unusual. "Daniel," he said, smiling in a way I had never seen before, "we've decided to promote you." Just like that. No warning, no interviews, no discussion. He slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a new job title, Senior Project Manager, and a salary increase that made my heart skip. I should have been excited. Instead, something felt wrong, because there was someone else who should have gotten that job. My coworker, Marcus. Marcus had been with the company longer than I had. He was smarter, more experienced, and everyone expected him to get promoted eventually, including Marcus himself. So, when I walked back into the office with the news, the room went quiet. Not completely silent, just that subtle shift when everyone suddenly stops talking. Marcus looked up from his desk. "A promotion?" he asked. I nodded. For a moment, his expression froze. Then he forced a smile. "Congrats!" But it didn't reach his eyes. The rest of the week felt strange. People were polite, professional, but distant. Like I had suddenly become an outsider in my own team. Marcus stopped joining over lunch. 2 co-workers who used to joke with me every day barely spoke to me. Even my boss started acting differently. He avoided long conversations. And every time I asked questions about the new role, he gave vague answers. "Just focus on the next project," he said, which brings us to Friday afternoon. That's when everything went wrong. Around 4 p.m., the entire office received an email. A subject line: "Urgent! Project financial review." Attached was a document with dozens of financial records from our biggest client. At the top of the file was my name. According to the report, I had approved a series of payments that cost the company nearly $500,000. My stomach dropped because I had never even seen those documents before. Within minutes, my boss called me into the conference room. 2 HR representatives were already there. Marcus was standing near the window. Nobody looked happy. "Daniel," my boss said slowly, "can you explain these approvals?" I stared at the document. Every approval line had my name on it, my login credentials, my digital signature. But I knew one thing for sure. I didn't sign any of them. "This isn't mine," I said. The HR representative frowned. "The records show they came from your account." The room felt colder by the second. Marcus finally spoke. "That's strange," he said, "because just yesterday, Daniel told me he was struggling to understand the financial system." Everyone looked at me. I realized something horrifying. Marcus was framing me. The meeting ended with HR launching an official investigation. They suspended my system access. And suddenly, my brand new promotion didn't feel like an achievement anymore. It felt like a trap. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the meeting in my head. Marcus's calm voice, the way my boss barely defended me. And then a thought hit me. Something small, but important. The financial system logs every login location, not just the username, the computer itself. So early the next morning, I drove back to the office. The building was almost empty, but the IT department was already there. I asked one of the technicians for help accessing the login records. At first, he hesitated, but after hearing what happened, he quietly pulled up the system logs. We both stared at the screen. The approvals came from my account, but the computer used to approve them wasn't mine. It was Marcus's workstation. My heart started racing. We printed the logs immediately, and Monday morning I walked straight into HR. Marcus was already there. So was my boss. I placed the login report on the table. The room went silent. The HR manager looked at Marcus. "Your computer?" she asked. Marcus didn't answer. For the first time since the investigation started, he looked nervous. But then something even stranger happened. My boss leaned forward and quietly said, "That's not the full story." Everyone turned towards him. He sighed and then admitted something none of us expected. Marcus didn't act alone. My boss had helped him. Apparently, the company had been planning layoffs. Big ones. But they needed someone to blame for the financial losses they had already suffered. So my boss and Marcus came up with a plan. Promote me. Give me access to higher level accounts. Then use my credentials to approve fake payments. When the losses were discovered, the blame would fall on me. The promotion was never meant to reward me. It was meant to create the perfect scapegoat. But they made one mistake. They assumed I would panic. They assumed I wouldn't check the system logs. Within a week, both Marcus and my boss were fired. The company quietly settled the financial mess internally, and I resigned soon after. Because once you realize the people you work with were willing to destroy your career to protect themselves, you start to see the office very differently. Sometimes the most dangerous place isn't a dark alley. Sometimes it's the conference room at work.